Hi, folks. Welcome to June 13, 2023 SIG Node weekly meeting. Let's get started. Sergey, did you want to go over the announcement tracking board first?
Yeah, I pasted a link. So the goal, if you want to get in 128, is to get into tracked state, like status. I think we already have 3 in this status, and I believe we have a few more that were already merged, but still wasn't updated on the status. It should be good there. But if you're working on something and you want to get in 128, please watch the board and watch the issue notifications.
Yeah, I think one thing I noted is a few KEPs are missing PRR approval, and that's not something that we do. So we need to work with PRR approvers on that one and make sure their comments are addressed. Anything more on that topic?
No, not from me.
All right, thanks, Sergey. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is by Rob Scott, a new kubelet API to expose pod readiness. Rob, you want to talk
Yeah,
about it?
I just to be clear, this is something that we're not intending to get into this cycle. I know we're awfully close to the enhancement freeze, but I want to be clear, this is not intended for that. But we just wanted to start the discussion sooner than later. I'm on the GK networking team, and Katarzyna on the networking team with me has been doing most of our work around this, trying to improve basically health checks. And maybe Katarzyna, you can provide more information on what we're hoping to achieve here.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Rob. Hi all. Like Rob mentioned, we are working on some health check controller, and actually we face the issue that to fetch some detailed information about pod, we always need to ask Kube API, and we was wondering why there is no API in kubelet that we can fetch some information about local pods. And actually, I would like to start working on the KEP to propose some API. So we can fetch the information about the local pods. Like right now, we are mostly interested in status. For example, the pods readiness, this is the sum of all conditions that needs to be passed for pod. And actually, for our workload, it's important to understand each of these conditions, not only the result like pods ready status. And it would be great if we could expose this as a gRPC API, and we can fetch the list of pods, or we can fetch pods by UID or something. What do you think?
I guess one of my concerns would be that the API server, the Kube API server is the authoritative source on statuses. And so why would we not look there for statuses or readiness of pods?
Because the outages between the node and Kube API happens. And I know that without the Kube API, we cannot schedule new pods, change anything with running workload. But actually, with container native load balancing, we've got health checks. We are coming directly to the pod. And if we are detached from the Kube API, our health check will fail. So what we are aiming, we want to, because the kubelet already knows the state of the node. So for the pods that are already running, that are already in good state, this is very crucial that even if we are detached from Kube API, we will still report the original or the actual state of the pod.
Yeah, I think the key thing that we're trying to do here is the thing that's actually running the health checks is kubelet on the node, and then to have a dependency on API server and that connection to understand health status feels like not a very efficient or reliable thing when you have all the information locally. We just would love a way just access that locally without having to have that additional connection work and also be healthy.
What will be the consumer of this API? Something like daemon set running on the same node or something different?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So go ahead.
So yeah, we are talking about daemons which is running on each node. So we are interested only on the local nodes.
And you are thinking to add new API or extend some of already existing read-only API, like the pod resource API, what Kubernetes provides?
So we were looking because there is, for the pods, this is only the pod resources API. We thought about extending it with some function like get pod statuses, but we can also create new one like pods info, and in future if it's gonna be need, we can add some other stuff there. But start at the beginning, thought about extending the pod resource API. But we are open for discussion, you can say.
Now, another question would be, since we're doing evented flag, which improve performance, and this API is also may need to be very performant. Maybe we need to think about streaming API rather than pool-based version of it.
Yes, I think the streaming API would be a better fit for us. I know that there are some concerns with the API that if some workloads adding to the nodes, we can crash the kubelet API. I didn't run any stress tests or anything to mitigate this issue, and I know that another concern is DDoS. And also right now I do not have answer for all these problems.
What is the purpose of the API? I know it's local. You want to see the pod status, but what's the scope? What's the purpose of it?
So for us, we would like to get pods healthy statuses, and for our component, it is crucial to know each condition by not only the whole computed by kubelet ready status, but all conditions. And the reason is that a user can also add some conditions, for example, in readiness probes, and
Right.
they are added as a condition. So our controller would like to know exactly if this is from probe, if this is containers ready, or some other conditions. So this is our use case.
Actually, when you first proposed this one, I don't have any concern right now. I do have concern.
That's why I asked. It's really starting to mess a little bit with the API and the expectation. The API server and managers will be the ones that receive that information.
Yeah,
somebody between kubelet and the people who ask for the probes make it, yeah.
To me, it's kind of like you try to reverse engineer for certain daemon running on the node or certain pod running on the node. You try to reverse engineer. At least your last response that indicated that's kind of dangerous. This is why on the Kubernetes, the one things we try to do, at least I try to do based on the experience with the internal book, is people kind of like the pollute of the node agent all the time, bypass of the real master. Okay, we are not allowed the control plane. And this is what we are doing in the book. And I try to prevent that for last many years and try to achieve of the trade-off balance something. but I do think about we could expose, because we did before, but we never get that officially support. But to get additional condition, which is Kubernetes API don't support, but some random workload try to impose, and then we have to decoding those kind of things. That's really dangerous move for the open source community. I mean, for everybody, if they are for their own offer, they want to do some hack things. That's their job. But I feel like for open source Kubernetes, I want to make sure this is still healthy. People can build the extension on top of the Kubernetes standard offer, not just pollute this standard offer. That's kind of the dangerous part. Sorry. Even I'm the Google nerd, I try very hard to not pollute community offer here.
Well, I understand, but we are proposing read-only, of course, the API, and the readiness probes, they are already in standard, right? So they are just shows up as a condition. And so the reason behind this project is the container native, which is bypassing, like you say, the central authority, because previously HealthCheck was going to the node and checking the node healthy. And with container native, you want to be, let's say, faster or more independent. And with this project, we'd like to do we like to show the real state of the pod, which is actually the pod is running even if Kube API or even if control plane is have some issues, connectivity issue or something issue. It might happen for a very short time, but still might happen. And this readiness probes, they are, of course, for us, there are some things that are not desired. Not many users use them, but still they are in Kubernetes in documentation. So we need to be prepared that someone will use it, right?
Yeah, they are used a lot. I think in some respect, we'd like to refactor how we implement the probes to improve performance and reliability. And if we're exposing that at the node layer, right, it becomes a different kind of API that might be harder even for us to refactor.
Okay, I understand.
We should talk.
Yeah,
I think
we should talk.
I think what I'm hearing here is that we should revisit and come back to this a little bit later. I appreciate the feedback. I think what we're hoping to achieve here is something that could be broadly beneficial, but hearing some very good and well thought out concerns. So we'll come back with some of these addressed, and maybe we'll share a doc or something with the community. Yeah.
I think if you can put a doc with the well thought CUJ and what's the use cases and how you I think we can tag those kind of things and export those pod status API, because actually people depend on, we do know the people using our unofficial pod status. We never really say officially support. So that's why, because we want people cautious. I'm okay with the read only, but really don't decoding the system. If you want, you need to make that API, right? So official API. So then we can, based on that one, to give suggestions. So that's,
yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thanks. We can move on to the next topic. Vinay, you have a couple of requests for reviews, I guess.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, these are a couple of small housekeeping PRs. One of them came from KEP enhancement lead to change the current milestone from 127 to 128 and keep it in alpha. And the other one is we made some late stage API changes, change the name of the API just before merge or after code freeze, I believe, but that hasn't caught up in the KEP, and people looking at it might be confused. So just was wondering if Tim has already looked at it and LGTM'd it. So another pair of eyes and then a merge.
Yeah, I quickly tagged one of them and I can do the other as well. Don, go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead if you are on it. I don't need volunteer myself.
Okay,
Thanks.
yeah.
Okay,
Vinay,
yeah.
I got it. Okay.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So next one is Kevin. Kevin is looking for an approval and he's tagged you, Don. I haven't seen this one yet, so. So this is for promote improved multi-NUMA alignment in topology manager to beta.
Yes, yes, I'm the original reviewer, one of the reviewer and also approver, so I will on that one. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks. Swati, you have a follow-on on the discussion regarding the node resources topology API repo.
Yes. Yeah. So we had a discussion, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago about this, and we kind of got an informal approval. I was just hoping that we can get a formal approval as well and get the repo creation process, to the over the line essentially. So if the tech leads, I believe Derek, Don, Ronald, you can take a look. I think that will help me.
Thanks.
Yep, sounds good. All right, that takes us to the last one. Akihiro, you're looking for a PRR review?
Oh yeah, so it's a recursive read-only mount, which makes a read-only mount literally read-only, and we already have approval from Team 14, but we also need approval from other people, especially prod readiness approvers, I think, to get this PR merged.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So I'm reviewing this one, and I think like one interesting follow-on. I know Sergey raised it last week, right? So one thing that's interesting here that's being proposed is how do we discover if a new feature, like something that's implemented only in a new kernel or run C, gets bubbled up to the kubelet?
Yeah. So in the proposal, the CRI API is extended to report new structure called runtime runtime class info to kubelet, and so each of the runtime class has feature availability just recursively only, so the kubelet can inspect that and raise an error if the feature is not supported.
Yep. Thanks, Akiro. So I took a look at it. So I would be interested if other folks like Don, if you have any thoughts on this approach. It makes sense to me, but it'll be like additional things in the CRI to carry. Like these are new fields saying, okay, this runtime class supports this feature. For example, RRO in this case, and then the kubelet checks whether it supports or not, and then it decides whether it needs to set it or not. And I think Sergey raised some good points around how do we manage these? Do we bundle these together after some time?
Yeah.
So if there are thoughts, like happy to hear them. But otherwise, I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling all right. I mean, this may be the right way to go. The only other alternative may be to return in status exactly what the container runtime is doing, but that still doesn't give the kubelet the ability to fail at admission time.
This one come back before, but I need to refresh my memory because the current one I haven't taken a look yet. So I need to refresh my memory. What's the previous concern? I remember I reviewed the original proposal. That's a couple years ago. So I need to take a look. But I have to honestly say I don't have time for this cycle for this one. So if you guys feel comfortable, move forward. If you don't feel comfortable, then you want me to take another look. This week I don't have time. And
no worries. I think like I'm almost there. I'm gonna probably talk with Derek and see what he thinks later today, and then between the two of us, we'll approve it.
Sure. Thanks.
So Akiro, we still need the PRR. So you may want to ping either Wojtek or John on that one to get the PRR approved.
Yeah. So or maybe we have to defer just to 1.29.
We can try. We still have like a couple more days. So if they
Yeah.
have the time, I mean, 15th
Yeah.
is the deadline for KEP, so we can give it a shot and see.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That brings us to the end of the agenda, folks. Do we have anything else that needs discussion, or you want to raise on the call today?
I can bring one topic, particularly with Mike, speaking about the pull progress or pull an image with the progress. Now that it was suggested that we add the timeout also to the old call. So I was thinking not to touch the old call at all, but if we're fiddling with it, might as well just combine them and extend fully without having a separate API call for the image pool with the progress, but just extend the actual image pool request with optional parameters, whether to have the progress reported and whether to have the timeout. What do you think about having one call instead of two?
Yeah, I don't think as long as we add optional fields, we don't need to create a new API. So going that route would probably be cheaper and give us the ability to the cherry pick some changes into like Containerd 1.6 if we need to. It's certainly worth thinking about going that route. The other comments I was having, the real reason I wanted to just move it there is because just having a full progress timeout sort of fixes most of the issues that people are running into today. They're not always running on client tools that are going to be looking at how much is coming down. It's more of a, oh, I know I've got this pod and it needs a 20 gigabyte image, but I don't know if it's stopped or not. I don't know if it's making any progress. And if you have that timeout, that'll cover most of those scenarios.
I suppose I still stand by the desire to have the actual message that says that I have downloaded like 2 gigabytes out of 20, not just having it not timing out, because otherwise it might be proceeding for 25 minutes silently until it fails. So,
right. And the complexity of that is what does it really mean to say this much has been pulled on this one particular image request? If there's a common shared blob across 2 image requests, which one do you attribute that pull to? The second one's waiting on the first one, right? It's not going to time out or anything like that because progress is being made on a first request, right? You see what there's some corner issues there, and we don't always know what. It depends on the registry and the contents they've stored there on whether or not we can identify in the header how much total is going to be pulled. We don't always know. It's just going to take a while to come down. We'll know at the end, but we're not going to always know, the size of the blob we're pulling down when it's large. Okay.
All right. So I'll have a look on the merging 2 calls together.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So one more thing I wanted to ask is, did we explicitly address that we won't respect the image pull timeout and will allow with this approach for the pull to progress as long as it's not timing out per check period?
Isn't that a different thing? We're talking about the no progress timeout. That's when the transferring an image stalled completely and there's 0 bytes for like 10-30 seconds.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So if that is enabled, then we shouldn't explicitly fail when we reach the 2-minute or whatever the CRI timeout is. It can go beyond the 2 minutes as long as we are making progress.
We're talking about the other timeout.
Yes.
So Alexi, we can talk about that. Basically, if you make an API call and there's been no response, we need to make sure that that pull request is sync and waiting for a response. No timeout there. I think I think that does work today or now. It depends on which version, but.
All right. I just wanted to make sure we captured that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about the 2-hour limit.
No. I mean, there is a CRI timeout, right, which is typically set to 2 minutes, and I think image pool
2
also.
or 5, it's configurable.
Yeah, and that's what the image pool is also using. But with this, my hope is for
It is
big
using-
images, we should ignore it and allow big images to go beyond that timeout.
There's a client and a server side to that timeout. We'll need to fix kubelet then.
And actually, now that I spent 10 seconds thinking about it, not just suggesting something, we won't be able to merge the two calls together because the first one, the original call, is not streaming, it just returns the result back. And if we want to get the reports back, we need a streaming API. So that has to be a separate call. But yeah, maybe we can move the timeout inside the original call and reuse the same structure. Okay.
Yeah, I'll review again. Mike, let me know when it's ready. Yeah, thanks.
By the way, Alexei, what's the target release for this feature? Are we going to have it in 1.28? I didn't see it in the tracking table, so that's why I'm asking.
It is there. It is there. It is in. It is targeting at the moment 1.28. It's in the list.
Okay.
It's
okay,
tracked.
Thanks. I might be missing it. Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Thanks. Anything else, folks? All right. We saved 30 minutes for everyone to work on KEPs and review KEPs. See you all next week. Bye now.